And now, All the Dirt, gardening tips and advice. Sponsored by Farm Credit, loans for farms, homes, and land.
Welcome back. Well, today we are talking about one of the most important insects in the world, bees. And Sarah Melendy from Mountain Thyme Honey is here to give us all the dirt on these magical little workers. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. You know, I've been talking to you about this for a couple weeks now. Super excited to have you on. So again, you know, bees, they are really important. They pollinate a lot of the produce that we eat every single day. So how can us, the everyday person, how can we support bees and beekeepers?
So I get this question a lot. You know, I think most of us care about the bees and know how important they are for the environment, but also most of us are not going to invest the time and money to be beekeepers. But how can we still help is what people ask me often. And there are a few things that you can do, and maybe you've heard. If you could just mow a little less often during mowing season, then some of those things that most of us call weeds will have a chance to bloom, and the bees will be all over it. It would be wonderful. Also, if you have a property with a yard and you could put out a water source for the bees, which could be as simple as a saucer like what comes under a pot. If you would put a saucer with some small rocks in it with water out for the bees, that would be very important because the bees go through a lot of water. In the summertime, a typical hive will use 1 quart of water.
Wow, yeah, I did not know that.
Per day.
Wow.
And in the wintertime, even today, before I came here, I had to refill some water sources on my property because even in the cold of winter, if it's sunny in the afternoon, you'll see the bees out there and they're looking for water. The reason they're looking for water in the wintertime is because they need it to thin down the honey that they have stored so that they can consume it to survive the winter.
Okay.
In the summertime, they use it mostly to cool down the hive because the job of those worker bees all year round is to maintain an internal hive temperature of around 94 degrees. And that's not an easy task when it's hot and humid. So they use a lot of water and evaporating to cool down the hive in the summer.
Oh, wow.
So putting out water, mowing a little less often, and then if you could just plant a few native plants, things that flower. I try to have things that are flowering throughout the year from February to about October if I can. But if you live in an apartment and have a balcony, you could even put a tomato plant in a pot and add a couple of herbs. Then you're doing yourself a favor to have something to add to your cooking, and then the bees will be there to pollinate the tomato for you, and they love any flowering herbs, any herbs that flower.
Oh, absolutely. So another way is to help the beekeepers, and you're a beekeeper yourself, and by buying their products, and you have a lot of products that you do, right? With your bees.
I do have a lot of products. And I didn't tell you, Amanda, but this year my honey won the blue ribbon at the Botetourt County Fair. But I like to think that we won the Golden Globe Award. So I put it in globe-shaped bottles.
I love that.
But you know, when you can buy raw honey, that's local, it's full of so many nutrients. It's so great for you. And when you buy it at a market from a beekeeper instead of at a grocery store, you're really helping that beekeeper pay for the supplies that it takes to be a beekeeper. Or someone like me who has a small business, this is my only income. So whenever you can buy local, you're helping a small business too.
So real quick, I want to talk about propolis, right? Is that how you say
Propolis. Some people say propolis, I say propolis.
Okay. All right, what is it?
Okay, so honeybees are very hygienic. They also forage for 4 different things. The forager bees will go out foraging for pollen, which is their protein food. They'll go out foraging for nectar, which is their carbohydrate food that they turn into honey. They'll forage for water, like we just discussed, and they'll forage for resins that come from trees that the bees know are antimicrobial. And they'll mix those resins with their own enzymes and some of their wax, and we call it propolis or propolis. They use it to sanitize their hive and to seal the hive. It's very sticky. But what most folks don't know is that propolis has wonderful benefits, health benefits for humans. It's used all over the world and has been for centuries, for thousands of years. But I've done a lot of research on propolis and have developed some products of my own. I only brought one today, which is my propolis throat spray, which is really great this time of year.
Especially, yes, we all know it.
Especially for people like you who have jobs where you're talking all the time. This is great. But all of my propolis products, I always provide a little information card with suggested uses, because we're all learning, and I like to be able to share that, you know, little bit of education with people wherever I can.
Now, we are running out of time, so real quick, where can folks learn more about your business and buy your products? MountainThymeHoney.com is my website. I'm also on social media, Facebook and Instagram as Mountain Thyme Honey. Check it out. I've got a lot of interesting products that are just good for you things, all natural. All right, this is so cool. I love this stuff. Sarah Melendy from Mountain Thyme Honey, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, stick around. We'll be right back.